When it comes to aging and the fear that you have of not being beautiful, I feel like that's why now in my youth, I tell myself almost every day that like my goal is not to be beautiful. Like that is not, I was not brought on this planet to be just physically attractive to people.
It all started, traditional foods and the Kapana meat markets, how I miss you. And every day I long to kiss you till we meet again.
Hi, welcome to Mayowa's world. So my name is Mayowa. For those who are new to my channel, I am from Atlanta, Georgia, and I currently live in Berlin, Germany. On my channel, I talk about freeform locks, feminism, body empowerment, female empowerment, things that I feel like are not discussed in mainstream society that I feel like are really crucial for our growth as people. Today, I want to have just a really candid conversation about aging and how I feel about aging, because I want to be honest with my thoughts on this so that I can look back on this in the future and kind of be like, wow, that was interesting how I felt like that. So this video is just going to be me talking about just my thoughts, my fears, my concerns, what I think. And I would love to hear what y'all think, because I also feel like I have a wide age range of people who watch my videos. So I'd like to hear from people who are older than me, the same age as me, and younger than me. Wow, that scale was weird. And kind of get what you guys think about it. I always have this feeling that like, as I get older, I'm too late to something. Like I remember the first time I got into like modeling or photography or filmmaking or YouTube. Every time I've done something that I have actually genuine passion for, I have this feeling that I'm too late. And even when I started university, there was also this feeling that there had been kids that had been preparing for this since they were younger and I was too late. Like it's this weird thing where you feel like you have to have certain achievements by certain age. And I think one thing that I'm very blessed that I've learned from working in creative industries is that these sayings are said to discourage you. They're not said to help you. It's said to like wean out the ones who people don't think are serious. Like I think there's like a lot of rhetoric that's said to people to just kind of make them feel horrible about themselves. And so when it comes to aging, I feel like the biggest fear I had was that I was too late, that I'm too old. I also think as a kid, you know, I remember being like 7. My mom always used to say to me, like, you're a grown up now. You know, as a kid, you always would hear that. At least I would hear that all the time. I remember being like 8. She's like, you're grown now. And I'm like, I'm grown now. What? You know, so I think I've always had this feeling that I was grown. And I never really kind of reflected on being a kid. I never really felt like I was a child. You know what I mean? I feel like I was always kind of in this mentality that I am somewhat pretending to be grown. And it's not until I get older that I'm like, sis, you should allow yourself that space to make mistakes and to not be certain and to not feel this pressure that you have to be a certain way by a certain age. And I think particularly when I think about aging, the first thing that comes to my mind is beauty, because you think about the fact that you're told that older women are less attractive, or the older you get, the less attractive you are. And I remember one time I was like 21 and I was talking to this other girl who was 20, and she was saying that she is going to try and quickly sleep with as many people as she can while she's 20. And I was like, all right, cool, but why do you want to do that? And she's like, because you know, when you get older, no one's going to find you attractive. And I remember just kind of being so surprised that she felt that way, because that's not how I feel about older people. And that sentence in itself has so much self-hate, because it means that you really believe that your worth and who you are and your beauty and your character is defined by your youth, which is just a game you cannot win. And I think that's why industries like, you know, getting Botox and like always selling these creams that will make you look 10 years younger and stuff, all of these things kind of fuel the fact that that they want you to feel like you have to be younger to have something to offer. And so even though I'm aware that there's an industry profiting off of my insecurities, you can't help but be still affected by these things and still kind of like concerned with how, like I do have fears of like, how am I gonna age? Like what's that gonna look like? Especially when it comes to like fitness, because I love working out, I love my body, I love moving my body, and I think I'm scared that I'm not going to be able to move my body the way that I want to. Like, what if I go to a club and I can't just drop it low? You know what I mean? I go to the club and I'm like, bah, like I hit it. I go right down, you know? And I'm like, what if my knees don't allow me to do it? But then I also feel like the idea of just living a long time is really beautiful. Like you know, I think one thing that I've learned in the past year is like to not take life for granted. Like to be able to see another year is genuinely so beautiful in like the big scheme of everything, because there are so many people who would love to be in the opportunity to see another year. And I think it's kind of funny that like we are afraid to see another year because somehow it's related to how we feel about our bodies, and not even appreciating the fact that your body could make it that far in the first place. And so I think what actually helps me, to be honest, with aging is like seeing people who are older doing great. I think that's like something, like I would love to see more campaigns with older women, with older people. I would love to see things about art with people who are 50 or 60 or 70, who aren't just like only using their youth to sell. I feel like we have so much emphasis on like how young people are, that I would love to see older representation of women, because I think that's the only thing that actually makes the aging process better, which is like seeing yourself in other people, like seeing the multiple ways there are to be as an older person. And like I look at my parents, and I think, okay, yeah, they're like great, they're great, and they're older than me, obviously. But I would love to see more than just like my parents' representation, because also I feel like they still come from a time where they believe that the older you get, the less opportunities you have. And I just don't want to accept that. I don't want to believe that there's a certain age where I can't do the things I want to do. Like, I don't live by those laws. And I don't think I'll ever live by those laws. Like, I remember hearing from my mom, like, she would always be like, oh yeah, you're an adult now, you can't be showing your body, you know, on the internet, or you can't be like sexualized, or you can't be like, you don't want to have sexy photos because you're too old to be doing that. And I'm just kind of like, I don't think that's how those things work, first and foremost. Second, like, I feel like if you want to show your body at 50, if you want to show your body at 60, I love seeing that, because it shows me that there's a multiple way to be as an adult. I've had older people come up to me and be like, oh, I would love to have freeform locks or to do this to my hair, but I'm too old to do that now. And I'm just like, no, you're not. Like, what do you mean you're too old to do that now? You're never too old to do that. If you want to do something, you should do it. And I don't want to get to this mentality where I feel like I'm too old to do something that I want to do. And that's my fear of aging, is like, I don't want to be restricted and feel like I have to do what everyone else is doing because I'm older, because I'm the same age as people who are acting a certain way. I still would always love to have like a youthful energy to myself. When it comes to aging and the fear that you have of not being beautiful, I feel like that's why now in my youth, I tell myself almost every day that like my goal is not to be beautiful. Like that is not, I was not brought on this planet to be just physically attractive to people. I have a personality, I have a good work ethic, I have great friends, I have a great community, and I always remind myself of the other aspects I have in my life that are great, that is not surrounded around looking good. I also have learned to, like, instead of it being about looking good, I care way more about feeling good. Like, I care way more about how my body feels. I check in with my body all the time. I'm working out like 5 days a week. One thing that I'm like really appreciative for is like doing kickboxing, because I feel like in some ways to get hit in the face, you've had to accept the fact that like you believe more in building a character around being a fighter than you do more about being aesthetically beautiful at all times. And that's something that I just, you know, I have to remind myself every day, because especially when you do like social media stuff where like so much of your work is checked out by like first glances, you can easily feel like, oh, do I need to be more beautiful? Do I need to be more sexy? Or do I need to be more like conservative? Like what? And then I just always have to like snap out of it and be like, this is not your work. Like you have content, like you have things to say. You're not just a pretty face. Like, and that, I think reminding yourself that as a young person will help with aging, because you have created a personality that isn't just about being young. But it is still scary, and I am interested to see how it will affect me. And I'm interested to look back in this video in like, I don't know, 10 years or 20 years and just be like, wow, I can't believe I thought that. But if I could speak to my future self, what I would say is like, please don't be that bitch who feels like you have to be a certain way because you're a certain age. I hope that you have this spirit in you that will always tell you to just do what it feels right for you. Like, I hope that essence and that belief will always be with me. And maybe you can't drop it low and pussy pop in the club the same way you were doing at 25 or 27, but maybe you have other skills to offer, you know, like maybe you can do some other cool tricks, you know. And so I guess as your body kind of fails you in ways that you don't expect, I hope that your mind is strong enough to still find joy and happiness and find pleasures in ways that you can't. Yeah, that's my thoughts on aging. I'm not sure if this video is a cohesive one of me talking about it, but I don't really have a cohesive thought about aging. It is scary, but I'm also like excited that I'm living. Like I'm excited that I get to see the next day and I get to exist and have a great community of people who believe in me. And I really believe that the people who love me will love me regardless of what I look like. And yeah, that's what matters the most. So thanks for watching. Have a good day. Cheers.
Believe you and me, the stars we will reach. I know it's hard, nothing comes with ease, but this is Brazil.